Two other functions that are present within tidyR that might be useful for data manipulation are separate and unite. Separate and unite allow one to take a column and split it into smaller or split it up into multiple columns based on a separator. Unite allows us to take multiple columns and combine them. I have a data set called cityoflondontraffic.csv that I'm going to read into a data frame called code using default column specifications. If I take a look at the first 6 rows of that data frame, I find that it is a 6 by 17 column table, at least the head, so that there are 17 different columns. And if I actually take a look at the dimensions of code, I see that I have 4,644 rows and 17 different columns. Let's take a look at one of those columns, this column called count date, and we notice that this is a data frame for traffic through the City of London at different points. And we have some information about the types of vehicles that traveled through these locations and how many of those vehicles traveled to these locations at a certain count date and specific hours of the count date. One of the things one might want to do is take this count date and split it up into its smaller parts, in this case year, month, and day. So 2005 being the year, 10 being the month, and 17 being the day. To do that, one can use the separate function. And so I'm going to call this colt_sp, the separated version of this City of London traffic dataset. And the function is separate. And I have to specify the data frame, in this case, colt, as the data frame that I want to separate. The next thing I want to do is that I need to specify the columns that I want to separate. And so the column is count_date is the column that I want to separate. The separator is, in fact, the hyphen symbol. The separator being the hyphen symbol. My next parameter I need to specify is into what do I want to separate these. I'm going to say into equal to C, split this up into year, comma, month, comma, day. And if I go ahead and run this and take a look at the head of colt_sp, I find that my count date is split into year, month, and day. And so I have 19 columns, and right now at least 6 rows because I'm using the head function. Now, I can also take multiple columns, in this case year, month, and day, and what I am going to do is then try to combine them up once again into count date. And so I'm going to create a new data frame called colt_un, united, and the function I'm going to use is unite. In this case, I start off by specifying the data frame that has the separated columns, that is colt_sp, and the columns that I have that I want to join are year, month, and day. I do want to specify a separator in here. The separator is going to be the hyphen, and I have to specify the new column name. The new column name is, why don't I just use count date once again? And if I do this and I take a look at the head of colt_un, I find count date has the combined of year, month, and day. This way I can use the separate and unite functions in tidyR to take one column and split it up into many columns, or take many columns and create a single column out of those many columns.